I'm calling the Sales Tax Citizens Oversight Committee of Monday, July 24th, 2022 to order. 23. Well, it says 22. 23. We had a flashback.
Okay. Committee member Spurzum.
Here.
For roll call. Committee member McBride.
Here.
Committee member Greenbaum.
Here.
And Chair Gerbils.
Here.
Thank you.
And now we will have a salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
Say amen. All right, the first item on our agenda is open time.
Mike, do you want to stand the mics up?
No, we're free range.
Yeah, so today we are using this device and you don't need to use the microphones on the dais.
Okay. Because my nose. Open time for public comment regarding non-agenda items. Do we have any members of the public?
We have
Patty?
one resident, yes, Patty, and
Hi,
she
Patty.
does not have her hand raised.
Okay. So seeing none, we will proceed to general business. The first item of our general business is discussion and possible action of the proposed fiscal year 2021-2022 final annual report on the revenue and expenditures of the transactions and use tax and direction to forward the report to the town council. Okay.
Okay, this is item 3A in your packet. This is a recap of the information that was provided at the last meeting in February. At the last meeting, all of the reports from the financial software were provided. This is a listing in the manner that was requested of all of the expenditures by category. Last in the fiscal year ending 2022, the town received $4,029,875 and expended $4,666,268 from the Port of Madera Sales Tax Fund. And you can see on pages the little red numbers 4, 5, and 6. You can see the categories in each of the individual projects or line items are listed in here. And I will point out that at the last meeting, it was noted to me that under senior programs, $9,000 under the Marin Pirates Foundation is actually for youth programs, but the books had already been closed and the audit conducted at this time. So I'll be making that adjustment in the following year. So
okay.
As of the end of 2022, the balance in the fund, the Port of Madera Sales Tax Fund was $8,301,489, and $2.5 million of that has been designated as an emergency reserve, so that available ending fund balance as of June 2022 was $5,801,489.
Got it. All right. Does anyone have any comments with regard to the proposed annual report that you're going to submit to the council?
Just one. I found out, or somebody, Patty, in fact, told me that the Marin Pirates Foundation is also a youth.
Yeah,
It's not a senior program, so you have it under senior program.
That's the item.
Oh, is that the one you were talking
that I was
about?
noted? Yeah, I'm going to add. Well, I guess it's both senior and youth, as I understand, or was in this fiscal year. So I'm going to be.
What is the Pirates Foundation?
It's a swim program.
Swim program.
Oh, the swim program.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'll be moving $9,000 from.
I just got confused with the
But
Pirates.
since the books had closed,
I think now it's called Sonoma Aquatic.
Well, it's a different organization. You'll
Yeah.
see in 22-23 and 23-24, now
Okay.
some aquatic.
That's all I have. The aqua people. Okay, great. Carl, do you have anything?
I do not.
This might be for Daria, but so there was this $2.5 million surplus that was put into the emergency reserve. We earn interest on that somewhere, and I didn't see it when I went through the longer budget report.
The town does earn interest on the funds that it had. Most of its funds are at the state, the local agency and investment fund, and this fund, the Corte Madera Sales Tax Fund, is a part of the general fund when we close the books, and we just segregate it out here for for reporting purposes. So the interest is actually allocated to the general fund.
Okay.
So there is interest.
There is, but we don't specifically put it
We
to
don't,
this,
yeah,
to each little fund that rolls up to the general fund.
Thank you.
Okay. On the first page, so we say town infrastructure, that includes the new town hall construction, correct?
Infrastructure town, there's infrastructure capital project. Oh, wait, which page? Oh,
I'm looking at the very first page of the report,
okay.
just under the bullet island.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Okay. And being as OCD as I am, I actually went through and totaled all these things. I think that the total on the infrastructure capital projects is $2,097,071, not 061. So I think it's off by $10.
Okay, I will correct that. Okay.
I'm not done. Hope she doesn't catch you making a mistake. So under other expenditures on the third page of the report, page 5 of the packet, I think under other expenditures, the second bullet item, community grants, gift cards, I think that the 32,500 should be shown as a negative.
Yes, you're correct. Thank you.
No problem. And then I think, so I backward calculated it. So I think that our starting balance for 2022 was 8,629,741, and that's not noted anywhere here.
Okay.
Does that sound about right?
I'll note it. Yeah. Okay.
So once you figure out where the
Okay.
$10 went,
Okay.
just say.
Okay.
Then you're giving me the stump eye. No, I'm not. I'm waiting. I'm not attentive. So then I put it in an Excel spreadsheet, my favorite software, and totaled it all up. And I come up with a different total than 4,666,268. I come up with 4,661,276, which is off by almost 5,000. So I can't quite.
Okay. I'll double check that.
So it almost looks like that there's something that should have been minus that wasn't, or
maybe something.
No, actually that wouldn't be it. It looks like there should be another 5K in place.
Okay.
But anyway.
All right.
You want my worksheet?
Okay. Thank you. I'll send it to you after I check.
Okay.
A revised copy.
That is all that I have on the Sales Tax Oversight Committee annual report. So that being said, do we need a motion to accept the report with any corrections that are necessitated given what we've just discussed?
Yes, we do need an official motion for this item.
All righty. So I move to accept the letter with all the additional corrections. Thank you.
I will second that.
Thank you. There were a motion in a second.
Committee member Greenbaum.
Aye.
Committee member McBride.
Yes.
Committee member Spurzum.
Yes.
And Chair Gerbos.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Excellent. And this will be at the next town council meeting. Will be presented that.
Yes, I'll send out the correction first. Yeah.
So it might not make it to the next agenda.
The next meeting is August 15th. That
Correct.
should
Okay,
be enough time.
okay. All right, the next item on our agenda is a summary of the fiscal year 2022-23 sales tax fund. So this is a summary of what's been spent through the end of the fiscal year that ended June 30.
Right.
And then there's your summary memorandum,
Yes. Then the books have not yet been closed.
but
Yeah, this is just,
the fiscal year ended.
yeah, it did.
2
And
weeks ago.
we're still expecting one more payment, one more sales tax payment, because the state, you know, sends it a couple months after the month.
Mhm.
So we're, and there may be more expenditures, but
So
this is just as of last week when I
Yeah,
prepared.
so we
the report.
received 11 of the
12, yeah.
12 monthly
Yeah,
payments.
and we'll probably receive more than was actually budgeted because we've actually received already 99%. So it'll probably be over. We'll receive more revenue than we expected. But this is just as of last week, these numbers.
Is stuff still trickling in from the previous sales tax measure?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was telling Adam that I was surprised that, let's see, last week we got $36,000 from the previous sales tax measure. Somebody must have been very late or something on filing their taxes.
Oh, okay.
Normally we get like a little bit, like.
So it would be like some business operation
Mhm.
within the town
Yeah.
slash city of Corte Madera.
Maybe they didn't file their taxes on time. I mean, normally it's not that much. Normally it's a few $100s a month.
But 36K, that's a,
Yeah, yeah.
Adam, that's a lot of lamps.
Oh, yeah, that sure is.
Okay, all righty.
One car.
Anybody have any questions about this memorandum with regard to the fiscal year that just completed? Or the detail that shows up in the material provided? Because that would,
Yeah, the only thing when will this be finalized so that we can then do our meeting for reporting?
I need to have the books closed by mid-September, and then the auditor, he hasn't given me when he's coming. He asked that I send everything to him by September 22nd, and then he has to do his work. Last year he didn't finish until January, but I think this year he said he was going to try to be finished sooner, so maybe November or so.
but at the very least, it's after the state makes their
Oh, yes.
12th payment.
Yeah, the 12th payment is due at the end of August.
Okay,
Yes.
does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else anybody have with regard to, this is basically the pages 9 through 19 of the agenda packet. Okay. Do you have any salient observations?
No.
Okay. All right. Do I ask if I have any public comment with regard to item B on the agenda? Marina?
Yes, and actually, we forgot to do that for the first item.
Oh,
And we do have Patty with her hand raised, so let me give a permission to.
Thank you, everybody. My question is always the same. What was the amount budgeted from the sales tax override fund for senior programs, and what was spent year to date?
for 22 through 20, the fiscal year 22-23.
That just closed.
Okay. There was $75,000 that was budgeted for 22-23, and 32,139 was spent. About half of that, nearly $16,000 of that was for salaries, and the remainder was for a swim program.
So we spent less than half of what was budgeted. Is that
That's right.
okay? Does that answer your question, Patty?
Well, I think she
Yeah,
gets 3 minutes to comment. So. And if she doesn't comment,
she didn't have any additional comments.
okay, thank you. So on this point, when I did speak to Patty about this, her impression is that the focus of the, I guess the people who are responsible for this are the rec department or something.
Yes.
And in her experience, every time I don't know if why she didn't say it, but in her experience, she would suggest something for seniors and she would get like pushback on it. And then she seems to think, and I think probably the focus here is more on youth and the children. I don't think there's a senior citizen on the commission, and about a quarter of the population, I believe, of Puerto Madera are senior citizens. So I would like to see all the money spent on programs that we've allocated, and I don't know what we can do about that to push that.
Is within the power of this committee?
Well, I'm observing that, well, it's within our power to comment on how these funds are spent and how the citizens who we represent are not being equally represented by the expenditures.
No, I think that's fine. I think this is actually probably more of a comment on the next item on the agenda, rather than we just close the books on 22, 24. We haven't closed the books. We're about to close the books on 22, 23. But I think the observation is noted.
But also with regard to the budget going forward.
Sure.
Well, the budget, budget's one thing, it's actually spending it is another.
Yeah, it's very, very true. It's like your budget you brings out and then.
And then push back when
spent.
somebody's, or not have the resources to actually implement any senior programs. I don't know what the problem is. I don't go to those meetings. I don't even zoom in on those. So I have no idea. I'm just commenting.
I'm not sure.
That's okay.
We might bring it up again when we get to,
Yep.
to the what's budgeted going
Yeah.
forward too.
I have no problem with what's budgeted.
Right.
That wasn't the issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
speaking to,
So I'm done.
yeah, not only
Can I just
budgeted,
follow up? So then what group, what organization, what committee would be responsible for planning, given that there's a budget in place, and then allocating the funds of the Parks and Rec Commission through the town council?
That's my understanding.
Well, it's ultimately, it comes down to town operations and administration, because it's not the Park and Rec Commission's responsibility to spend funds or they can make recommendations or advisory recommendations to the town council. Ultimately, it's a town council who budgets the funds and sort of has the expectations about how those funds are going to be utilized. So so that's where it's not any body that's recommending the particular programs and the expenditures of those.
so Parks and
Other than
Rec doesn't have can't provide any momentum.
sure, the momentum's different than it's actually expenditures or of the funds themselves, right?
Yes.
So, but
Well, if they don't recommend something, it's never going to be spent, right?
no, I mean the town. It's a little off topic, but the town staff is the one that we're working to develop the budget each year, and so there are some certain thinking along the lines of how we potentially could spend those funds, and so it's a matter of either one, making those more realistic in terms of what we're able to what we're putting down in terms of the expected expenditures for that fiscal year and how they're going to be spent, or again, doing a little bit more work on the planning side of what those funds are actually going to be spent for. Sometimes, quite frankly, and my understanding is that there's been in the past, there's a little bit of a cushion because things have come up during the course of the year that you may want to allocate funds for that relate to senior programming. And it's just not known at the beginning of the year or at budget planning time what those particular programs might be. And so, but I'll just stop there and say, the comment is recognized. And I think it's something that that's why, we have a council member with us, because they are liaison, they can hear this comment.
I could just say that, I think Parks and Recreation leadership, the director, if they're doing a really great job, they're doing annual planning and they're making sure they're addressing the senior needs as well as the younger needs. So I just think that's a matter of just continuing to improve our Parks and Recreation management and make sure that they do annual planning. And I agree that senior representation on the Parks and Rec board would be a good idea. Does Patty want to get on?
If she does enough. The problem is, a lot of seniors maybe don't have the inclination or, I don't know, but I'm not going to speak for all seniors. I'm a senior, but.
Well, there is a youth member, so it could be that there could also be a senior member. It's designated, so if you did that, you'd probably get somebody.
But Adam said that it's not up to the Park and Rec department, it's up to the staff and
the
town council
commission.
Commission, sorry.
Is advisory, they don't actually allocate.
Right.
So they can provide more urging, more pressing to have the funds, the fulfillment of whatever was the possibility of the funds to deliver senior services. So, perhaps they could be a little more proactive. I don't know.
And maybe public participation in written form to give input, it would probably be very helpful also. Instead of just kind of saying it at the meeting, but maybe if it was more documented.
Okay. Thanks, Jean. Does anybody have anything else with regard to the 2022-23 actuals? Okay, so we had public comment, we had Patty. Do you need anything further from us before we go on to the next?
No, this item is just for information only. So if you are finished with this item, we can move on to the next one.
Okay, great. So then the next element of our agenda is to review the adopted budget. So this is the budget for the fiscal year 23-24 using the sales tax override funds.
Yes, this is the budget that was recently adopted. The pages that follow on, let's see, the red pages 22 through 30 show the expenditures first by category and then by project. You'll notice that the beginning balance is anticipated to be nearly $8.5 million. Our sales tax consultants have said that they estimate that the town will receive nearly $4.3 million in revenue. And then there is nearly $9 million in expenditures. There's some big items in here. There's the San Clemente pump station, which is $1.2 million, and the Tamalpais overcrossing project, which is $2.4 million. Those are the largest items. And then when all of the expenditures are made, we're expecting there'll be an ending balance of about $3,773,372. 2.5 million of that is the reserve, leaving nearly $1.3 million available for expenditures. And then the following year, at this point, the sales tax consultants have estimated that the town will receive about another $4.36 million. So the amount available will be about $3.1 million once the reserve is deducted. And the Public Works Director is aware of this and is planning accordingly.
Got it.
So give me the sequence again, because I see that we go to a pretty low after the reserve. then you walk through how it goes back up. Is that next year it goes
The
up?
following year.
The following year, at the end of this year, 2024, the total balance will be about $3.77 million,
Okay,
and including the reserve. And then,
Right.
Including, so the reserve you subtract out of the 3 point?
yes, so there'll be about $1.273 million, which will be available for expenditures. And then in the following year, 24-25, we're expecting another approximately 4.36.
where are you reading that from?
On page 20, I'm saying,
You get the following.
Yeah.
There's nothing here about
You keep
oh,
going.
about the
following
following year, no, because I didn't have that information.
the following year projection
Yeah,
is
yeah,
not
yeah,
here.
I'm just telling you about the $4.36
Right,
million. That's the latest we've received from the sales
right,
tax.
but that's not really relevant to what we're doing, right? I mean.
No,
we're gonna be
I'm-
spending money through that.
Yeah,
year,
I'm
so
just
that's-
giving information.
So the 24-25 projection
Yes.
is 4 million what?
$4.36 million.
436.
Yes, $4,360,000. So yes, if you're asking the end of 24, the total ending balance is expected to be about $3.77 million. $2.5 million
Right.
is reserved and leaving, 1.27 available for expenditures.
I got that, I just,
Yes,
then you go on to the
Yeah,
next year.
yeah.
But is that relevant to, because that's money that's already, we've already gonna have earmarked for other stuff, so.
Yeah, I guess
confused.
I was just trying to make the point because at a previous meeting, at the town council meeting, someone asked if that was all the money we'd have for the following year. And it was, 24, 25, and I'm trying to make the point, no, because
No, of course not.
we'll be getting additional
Oh, okay.
sales.
Never mind.
I was just trying to make that point.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
of course we're getting that.
Yes,
money.
yes, yes,
what-
yes.
What? I mean, it sounded like it was some extra, anyway.
No,
okay,
it's not
we're good.
extra.
It's not extra, it's just
Yeah,
It's,
Okay.
yeah, it's just what we're
Expected.
No
expecting.
problem.
Yes.
yeah, but that's, okay,
I mean, the overall larger point is just actually that the sales tax revenue is
it always,
incrementally increasing
Right.
as the last
but
year over year
But
as projected.
yeah, no, I got it,
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
No,
and in this particular year, 23-24. Given these planned budgeted expenditures, the ones that you just mentioned, something that's 2 point and 1 point, and what have you. That we're more, and this might not be the accurate way of saying it, but spending down
Yes.
our assets, our
Yes.
reserves, our balance,
Yes.
more than we usually do.
Yes, yeah, yes, that a larger balance was accumulated and now it's being spent on these projects, yes.
So we've gradually accumulated a balance, and now between all the things that we're doing, possibly including the town hall building, that we're spending down our quote reserves.
Right, most of the town hall construction is, well, actually, no town hall construction money's been spent yet, just design out of this, we've spent over $6 million. From the certificates of participation that were issued, that's in another fund.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay, so it's not town hall elements.
There's some, just the design, not the,
But the large
construction, yeah.
But the large
29.
amounts of it
Yeah.
are not that.
And the
Some of
debt,
it, yeah.
and the debt that we're paying. I mean, we're
Yes.
paying down the
Paying
debt.
down the
That is
with-
correct.
with the
Yes.
in the debt, as I recall from reading last time's minutes, is that there's 2 payments. One that's every year, there's a payment that's just the interest, and then the second payment that's interest in principal every year.
Yes, we pay twice a year, that's right.
Okay. Questions, any further?
I do have a.
Sure.
So, many years ago, we would be seeing, the committee would be seeing 5-year plans to see where we think we're gonna go. I'm a little nervous about the 1.7. I understand another 4 million is gonna go in there during that year. But you have projects coming up. That, I mean, on these papers, you're not showing what the projected cost of all these projects are gonna be over a number of years, correct?
Correct.
And is that a conscious decision not to do that, or?
No, it's actually the same comment that that the council had as well when we were doing budgeting items. So that's something that we'll be working with the town council on, making sure that obviously we're budgeting appropriately over the life of these projects so that you can see how the sales tax funds will be spent over time.
And when will that be presented?
It's not. I think it was the request was when we come again with any of the last time we were talking about what was the basically the San Clemente pump station was the major infrastructure project that we had gone to council with a bid on. So for example, that project, $1.2 million is allocated for 23-24. We're expecting $2.3 million having to be spent out of the sales tax fund in 24-25. And so we'll be giving updates as basically when we come back to the council with additional.
Well, you know where I'm going. In 25-26, I'm being told is when we have to do the Casa Buena project in order to.
It's actually it's actually next year. We're going to do that one next year.
23-24.
24.
2024-25. And isn't the Casa Buena project like $5 million?
No, it's 2.
2?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Casa Buena is 2 and change.
Yeah.
And the pump station, the next year is 2 and change.
Correct.
So that basically eats up most of this 4.36 that we're projecting is next year's.
It's that. That's
tax.
right.
And there also may be some,
Income.
yeah, there also may be some other sources
that
of,
go into these projects too.
yeah, grants, gas tax funds, Tamalpaya's or Transportation Authority of Marin money, that sort of thing.
Well, if you got grants that are gonna back up a
if
cash
you-
truck and dump 2 million on us, I want to know about it.
Yeah. And Gina, I'm happy to, if you want to sit, we can talk with RJ specifically about the schedule of that, because it has changed. Because PG&E, well, we're going to wait for them, and then all of a sudden they're pushing off and saying they're not going to do their work. So we're moving forward next year.
But I had an email from RJ that said 25-26. That we have to do it by 25-26
Summer
in order to get the $400,000.
That's right. So we're doing it before then, I think. Yes.
So,
Next summer.
okay, well, that's great. And I could have sworn that the project was projected to be like $4 or $5 million.
I think it's 2, maybe. I think it's 2 to 3. My understanding is about 3.
Okay.
It might be the total.
Because we have budgeted about 140 this year to start the design services or finish the design services.
I think to Gene's point, several years ago that RJ did give us like a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
I think that's what Gene's asking. I'd like to see a 5-year plan as well. Doesn't have to be down to the dollar, obviously, but
no.
I mean, there's some big buckets moving through the system.
That's right.
It'd be nice to look out 5 years and really know what's on the horizon.
Yeah.
Besides these things.
Correct.
I mean, the 2 that we just mentioned are certainly large buckets.
Like reserve studies have graphs, what goes into the reserve fund, and then as you're spending or what you're scheduling to spend. And then the graph shows like when it's going to start bottoming, it just gives you a better flow of ideas of how you think it's in the next 5 years we're going to be spending. It doesn't have to be that detailed, I don't think.
No.
I mean, we don't have to know each one of the points, but even totals.
Yes, we'll work with RJ.
That's a good suggestion.
That information somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back to Gene's question about seniors, can you point us to where in the
It's the same amount.
the 23-24?
Yes,
75K?
Yeah.
Yes, on page 22, yes, 75,000, or at total 95,000, 20,000 in salaries and 75,000 in senior programs.
So you said what we had spent this year, half of it was salaries, so is that a
Yes.
salary component that's now 20,000?
Yes.
So there it is.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's 75.
plus 20,000,
Okay.
yes.
All right, get that bus service started.
Bus service?
Oh, okay, so, if no one else on the committee has a question, can we ask for public comment, Lorena?
Yes. And on all of these items, we had no email public comments, and Patty's still on and she does not have her hand raised.
Okay. All right. Lost track of my agenda. So that that concludes for item 3C, correct?
Correct.
Anything else you need from us then? Because this is informational.
No, we don't need anything else. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so the next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes for the February 6, 2023 meeting. The minutes were attached to the agenda packet. They're the last, I believe, 6 pages. Does anybody have any comments, questions, corrections with regard to anything from the minutes?
I did find a typo, but
I did too.
So it's probably the same typo. You can go.
Page 3 of the minutes, line 10, there's a missing space between about and 400,000. Page 4. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Page 4, line 34. I can't tell if that's an awkward sentence or a typo. I think maybe it should read the year since as of January, etc., rather than the year something or other so far. Do you see why I said it's a little awkward in the flow?
Yes. So I think
Yeah,
also
I
line 33 should say to have been spent.
Yeah, instead of saying if, I would say since, and then I would delete the so far.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I would do. Page 4, line 37.
Okay.
I would strike that it is likely. So it just reads, Sukos said that additional funds designated between now and the end. So strike that it is likely. Okay. And then page 6, line 9. The new contraction in the English language. PHIT. I think should be that it.
Okay.
Is that your typo?
I think it is my typo, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna put an apostrophe there. That's it.
Thank you.
Do we call for public comment on that?
Yes, we should. And we have no hands raised and no emailed public comments.
Thank you. All right.
Oh, we do have a hand raised. 1 second.
I just wanted to make a comment that I think the explanation about why it's called sales tax override, there's initial sales tax, and then this was a above and beyond sales tax, a sales tax override. But the way it came out in the minutes, it sounds like we had an old sales tax override and this is the new sales tax override, and that's why it's called override. So that just needs a little bit of clarification. It was the original sales tax, and then we had this special ballot measure for the sales tax override, and we had another measure for another sales tax override, but they were both overrides, not the second one only. Is that clear?
I'll review the recording because I recall that I read exactly what was typed by resident Patty Stolier. And just so that it's reflected on there. But I'll make sure to review that.
Okay, thanks, Lorena.
Thanks, Patty. All right, that being said, can I get a motion to approve the minutes with the corrections that have been submitted? So moved. Second?
Okay, committee member Greenbaum,
Aye.
committee member McBride,
Aye.
committee member Spurzum, and Chair Gerbos.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item on our agenda to discuss our next meeting date and adjourn. I don't think we're expected to have another meeting
Correct, until sometime early next year.
when we have the next when we have the finals for the current tax year that just ended. And so I won't expect anything like that. And we would also be looking at year to date, right, like we did last.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe we could have a 5-year projection chart at that time.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Okay, thank you. So we'll adjourn the meeting.
All right. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.